Welcome to Language Access 101 training. This training will explain what language access is, its importance, the specific relevance to Washington State University, WSU, extension, as well as provide some training scenarios. This presentation has been created by Dr. Kenitra Keeney, the WSU Extension County Relations Coordinator. Ensuring language access is not only a legal obligation, but also a fundamental principle for effective and equitable community engagement. Washington State University is an equal opportunity provider and employer. What is language access? Language access refers to the provision of services and information in a language that individuals can understand, especially for those individuals who have limited English proficiency, LEP. It ensures that language barriers do not prevent individuals from accessing critical programs, services, and activities. Limited English proficiency, LEP, are individuals who do not speak English as their primary language and who have a limited ability to read, speak, write, or understand English. This can include individuals who speak some English, but not enough to fully understand complex information or participate effectively in a program without assistance. Meaningful access, providing access to information and services in a way that is as effective for LEP individuals as it is for English proficient individuals. This doesn't necessarily mean translating everything into every language, but rather ensuring that the core information and services are accessible. Language services are the various methods used to provide language access, which include interpretation, the oral communication between two or more people who do not speak the same language, such as in-person, phone, and/or video. Translation, which is written conversion of text from one language to another, for example, documents, forms, and/or websites. Multilingual staff are staff members who are proficient in both English and other languages and can communicate directly with LEP individuals. Why is language access important? Language access is crucial for several reasons, encompassing legal, ethical, and practical considerations. First, there are legal obligations. These are the statutes or laws which guide our responsibility to provide equal access to programs and activities through language access. Let's explore. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This federal law prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin in any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Federal courts and government agencies have consistently interpreted national origin discrimination to include discrimination based on limited English proficiency. As WSU Extension receives federal funding, it is obligated to comply with Title VI. Executive Order 13,166, while revoked by Executive Order 14,224. Executive Order 13,166, issued by President Clinton in 2000, historically strengthened and clarified the obligations of federal agencies and recipients of federal funds under Title VI to provide meaningful access to LEP individuals. Even with its revocation, the underlying requirement is to avoid national origin discrimination as per Title VI remains. State and local laws, policies. Washington state and local governments have their own laws or policies that further mandate language access. Agency-specific requirements. Federal agencies that provide funding to WSU Extension may have specific language access requirements or guidance that must be followed. As we continue to understand the importance of language access, we need to consider the consequences of non-compliance and how discriminatory practices can exist. The consequences of non-compliance. Failure to provide meaningful language access can lead to lawsuits and legal challenges, loss of federal funding, damage to our reputation, and limit our ability to serve the community effectively. Discriminating actions or activities are specific actions that constitute discrimination under Title VI and language access regulations, which include denying services, refusing to provide services or benefits to an individual solely because they have limited English proficiency, providing inferior services, offering services to limited English proficiency individuals that are significantly less effective or of lower quality than those provided to English proficient individuals, such as relying on untrained staff or family members for interpretation of complex matters. Delaying services, causing unreasonable delays in providing services due to language barriers, leading to adverse outcomes for LEP individuals. Requiring English and English-only proficiency. Imposing an English-only requirement for participation in programs or activities where such a requirement is not genuinely necessary for the program's operation. Charging for language services. Requiring limited English proficiency individuals to pay for interpreter services or translated documents, which should be provided free of charge. Failing to provide vital information. Not translating or interpreting vital documents or information that is critical for accessing services, benefits, or safety. As a land-grant university, WSU Extension's mission is to deliver research-based knowledge and education to improve the quality of life for Washington residents. This mission inherently requires reaching all residents, including those with limited English proficiency. We can improve language access through the following examples: educational workshops and classes. By providing interpreters for in-person or virtual workshops on topics like gardening, nutrition, youth development, or financial literacy. Program materials. Through translating key brochures, fact sheets, enrollment forms, and online resources into commonly spoken languages in Washington, such as Spanish, Vietnamese, Chinese, Russian, etc. Community meetings and outreach events, making sure that announcements, presentations, and interactive discussions are accessible to LEP attendees through interpretation or translated summaries. One-on-one consultations means having access to interpreters for consultations with individuals on agricultural practices, pest management, or family resources. Emergency communications. During crises, such as natural disasters or public health emergencies, are we providing vital information in multiple languages to ensure safety and well-being for all? Online presence, making our websites and social media content accessible to LEP individuals, potentially through translated pages or accessible tools. Surveys and feedback. Offering surveys and feedback mechanisms in multiple languages to gather accurate input from all community members. By proactively addressing language barriers, WSU Extension upholds its commitment to serving all Washingtonians and strengthens its capacity to foster thriving communities across the state. Here are some scenarios to help WSU Extension staff understand and apply language access principles in their daily work. Scenario 1. Community Garden Workshop. Situation: you are leading a workshop on sustainable gardening practices in a diverse urban community. You notice several attendees speaking primarily Spanish, and they seem to be struggling to follow the English presentation. Challenge: ensuring meaningful access to information for Spanish-speaking limited English proficient participants. LAP application. Before the workshop. Did you advertise the workshop in Spanish? Were key handouts translated? Did you inquire about language needs during registration? During the workshop, can you provide a Spanish interpreter in person or via phone? Do you have translated versions of vital documents, such as planting guides, safety instructions? Can you use visual aids that are language agnostic? Action: immediately offer interpretation services. Distribute pre-translated materials if available, or offer to follow up with translated summaries. Encourage participants to ask questions through an interpreter. In this scenario, We are doing a one-on-one pest management consultation situation. A farmer calls your office seeking advice on a crop pest issue. During the call, you realize they have difficulty understanding complex agricultural terms in English, and you suspect they are a native Russian speaker. Challenge: providing accurate technical information to an LEP individual in a one-on-one setting. LAP application: initial contact. Ask if they would prefer to communicate in another language. Action: do not attempt to proceed with the consultation if effective communication is compromised. Offer to schedule a follow-up consultation with a qualified Russian interpreter with phone or video interpretation services. Ensure the interpreter understands the technical nature of the conversation. In this example, we are addressing food safety situation. There's a sudden local contamination issue, and WSU Extension needs to disseminate urgent food safety information quickly to all residents, including those in communities with high proportions of limited English proficiency individuals. Challenge: rapid, broad-scale communication of critical emergency information in multiple languages. LAP application: preparation. Does WSU Extension have a plan for emergency communications that includes language access? Are templates for emergency alerts translated into common languages? Action: immediately translate critical safety warnings into the most prevalent languages in the affected areas. Utilize multiple channels for dissemination, such as multilingual social media posts, community radio stations, and partnerships with community organizations that serve limited English proficiency populations. Next, let's look at Scenario 4. Youth Development Program Enrollment Situation: a parent comes to enroll their child in a 4-H program, but they speak limited English and are struggling to understand the enrollment forms and program requirements. Challenge: ensuring a limited English proficiency parent can fully understand and complete necessary paperwork and program information. Language access. Application: accessibility. Are enrollment forms available in commonly used languages? Is there staff available who can interpret or translate key information on the spot? Action: provide the parent with translated enrollment forms if available. Offer to connect them with a staff member who speaks their language or use a phone interpretation service to walk them through the forms and answer questions. Avoid relying on the child to interpret for the parent, as this can lead to inaccuracies and is not appropriate for sensitive information. In our final scenario, we are exploring an online agriculture survey. Situation: you've developed an important online survey to gather feedback from local farmers about their needs. You want to ensure that all farmers, including those who prefer to communicate in a language other than English, can participate. Challenge: collecting comprehensive and accurate data from LEP individuals through digital means. Language access application design. Is the survey platform capable of supporting multiple languages? Action: provide the survey in key languages relevant to the local agricultural community. Include clear instructions on how to select the preferred language. Consider offering an option for phone-based interviews with interpreters for those who prefer not to use online forms. These scenarios illustrate that language access is an ongoing consideration in all aspects of WSU Extension's work, requiring proactive planning and a commitment to equitable service delivery. Conclusion: to summarize this training, we discussed language access is a legal and ethical responsibility for WSU Extension, rooted in federal laws like Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Failure to provide meaningful language access can lead to serious consequences, including legal action and loss of funding. Prohibited actions include denying, delaying services, providing inferior services, requiring English proficiency, or charging for language assistance. Providing language services, interpretation, translation, multilingual staff, ensures that individuals with limited English proficiency, LEP, can fully access and benefit from WSU Extension's programs and information. Language access enhances WSU Extension's impact, outreach, and community trust, enabling it to better serve all Washington residents and fulfill its mission. We also walked through scenarios which can help service providers better understand how to prepare or incorporate language access into their programs and activities. Thank you for your time and attention. Understanding the basics of language access can help us make our programs a welcoming place for all.